Trigger warning. I'm going to take a moment to talk about some politics right now. And for those of you who know me, you know that this is not something that I do very often. But as we all know right now, we're in the midst of a crisis. And as we're in this crisis, both in our state and in this country, we know that some of our leaders are kind of butting heads right now, right? So for the governor of Michigan specifically, and for the president of the United States, they're in this arm wrestling match in the midst of everything that's going on. And none of this should surprise us because even though they're our leaders, we also know at the end of the day they're both politicians. And anytime politics is involved in situations like a crisis, people will try to leverage things in order to position themselves politically. And so right now we have conflict and fighting and there's all this drama that's taking place. And for me, I know that many people I see are looking to the president for help. Many people are looking to the governor. A lot of people don't know where to turn or who to look to or who to trust. And the whole thing just kind of makes me nauseous. How about you? You see, the good news though, is in the midst of the crisis that we're facing, we have some great advice, and it comes from Psalm 123. Here, also in a moment of difficulty and of crisis, the psalmist, he gives us great instruction. He begins by saying this in verse 1 and 2. He says, "To you I lift my eyes, O you who are enthroned in the heavens." He says, "Behold, as the eyes of servants look to the hand of their master, or as the eyes of a maidservant to the hand of her mistress, so our eyes look to the Lord our God," that's Yahweh, our God, "till he has mercy upon us." You hear that? In this psalm, the psalmist, in moments of crisis, he turns to the Lord and he says that the Lord is the one who is enthroned in the heavens. And just so you know, biblically speaking, the word throne is often used to describe, just like it would today, a king, but it means it's someone who has a position of power and authority. And so the Lord is positioned in power and authority over all nations, over all rulers. God is the one who rules and reigns as king over all, forever and ever. And so the truth is, when we even compare this with other passages, like in the book of Job, for example, Job chapter 12, verse 23, it describes for us that God, he makes nations great and he destroys them. He enlarges nations and he leads them away. Or in Psalm 2, it talks about the fact that there are some kings who are established and God just sits in the heavens and laughs. You see, the truth is we have an all-powerful God that we can turn to in times of crisis. And not only that, he's not political, but he's a God who can be trusted. And so in the midst of this season that we're going through, I just want to challenge you right now not to lift your eyes to the one who's enthroned in Washington, not to lift your eyes to the one who's enthroned in Lansing, but to lift your eyes to the one who's enthroned in the heavens.